CalazCon is a show about war, obsession, colonialist occupation, and the many forms of violence those inflict. See the description for content warnings specific to this episode.
They put nanomachines in my guts?
She's trying to get back to herself by thinking about all the stuff that is blocking her from herself.
Were you wanting to, I don't know, Michael, examine me?
He wants to go to the ball game with his gunchild.
I do not think I ever desired a clean break. I followed what I felt was right.
I swear if they're coming to hit us, where will we live again?
Once I've passed, I'd like you to take the Torotero.
Oh, fuck off.
We'll give a quick update, but if everyone else thinks this works, I think the new adjectives for the early birds in CalazCon are the early birds think you are petty, obsessed, and just straight up miserable. CalazCon think you are boring.
That's true.
Boorish, and insufferable.
Ironic.
Oh, Christ.
Ipse, we haven't heard from you in a minute.
Yes, that's right. And I actually still have all of my Downtime actions suspended, so I should probably get on with doing some of that. So, I'm going to say, what I want to do is definitely spend one of those on training, and I was wondering if I could do a quick little training scene and then a kind of non-downtime action bit where I go and talk to Sir again, because that was something I want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to go train some prowess, because we're good at that, and because I want to improve it. I think this is like a lonely training session after some of the conversations that have happened already. This is Ipse embodying the kind of technical, precise violence that they can do, and like rapidly just practicing with their rifle on a half makeshift, half set up properly shooting range. In my mind, if you were seeing this on a screen, is done in montage of just like very rhythmic staccato, just like shot, 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 reload, shot, 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 hitting exactly the same spots on the targets, reload, and just sort of doing that on my own into the evening. And then when I'm satisfied, I guess, I start wandering back over to get, transport over to where Sir is in the cannon.
Okay. I think you step inside the siege cannon operating room, and Sir over the speakers immediately says, Ipse, great to see you again. Can I help you? Not that I will, but like, I could maybe if you wanted to, but I'm not saying I definitely will, but it's polite to ask.
Sure. Maybe we can help each other, actually, Sir.
Great.
I was wondering about what you said earlier. Cutting a blade of grass with a guillotine. Could you do it?
Could I or would I?
The first one. I meant what I said.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I could. I mean, when they asked me about that, it was about firing the cannon so close to the FOB, but it would be a matter of a few inches whether or not one of your friends got caught in the blast. And I used that particular figure of speech out of politeness and concern and being unfamiliar. If they'd said, do it anyway, yeah, I think I could have done it. I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah, I thought as much, but I wanted to ask and check that you knew what you're capable of. I know you've done your research, as you like to say, and you know where we are, what the situation is. there's a war on, and, well, my belief at least is that we are on the right side of that war. Perhaps you need some more time to make up your mind on that, but if you'll at least entertain the proposition that we are on the right side of that war, then the longer this goes on, the more people die, the more lives are wasted, the more this place is immiserated by it. And if you are able to play your part and serve a purpose here, I think that you should. I understand that you have a choice, and that you might want to go and discover yourself, but I am asking you to wait. You can do it afterwards, when we're done here. Because right now, we need to be here. Because we are good at what we do.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. This place seems pretty fucking rough, I'm not gonna lie. Don't let Michael hear me swearing, by the way. I'm sure that he'd have a fit. God, Ipse. How do I say this? You're right. This is terrible. This is awful, and the longer it goes on, the more and more people are miserable. Maybe it's because I don't know, you tell me, I'm just trying to get my head around this. Maybe it's because you weren't asked to start bodyguarding the moment you got booted up. Or maybe it's because you didn't exactly start out in the war zone, but you say stuff like that and it's just like, who watches Watchmen, man? You know? How many times do you tell yourself, just wait to figure out what you want and who you are? Just wait and help stop these people being miserable. How many times does it take before you become one of the miserable people? There's a war going on. I'm not saying just stand by and do nothing, but some people would say that that's another reason to look out for number one.
Then I would consider you extremely selfish. As I said, we're good at what we do. Someone will have control of this weapon. You may have seen there are other interested parties in play. I think that we need to control this, need to utilize it. And in truth, I know who I am, I know what I want to do. This is satisfying to me. This is right for me. Perhaps one day I'll find something else that gives me this purpose, but for now, I know I'm in the right place. And one of the advantages I suppose we have is that time is a factor we perhaps have an advantage over our biological counterparts. With the right repairs, the right care, I will not be degraded by my time here. I'll have plenty of time afterwards to do as I wish. The same can be said for you.
See, where you see an advantage, I see a problem. Maybe. Yeah, it's good to feel like I don't have to worry about a lot of the things that Michael and True and Julius and so on are worrying about, but it just feels to me like another way to get set in your ways, to just feel at peace with getting thrown into the grinder, you know? You said we're good at what we do. What I want to know is, were you trying to presume that you know what I do better than I do? Because what I do, I don't know what that is. That's the whole point. Do you think you know better, or do you think that what Michael whispered to me as he hooked up the wires is what we are for good?
I think that both you and I have already seen what you're capable of, and you know what you're capable of, and it would be a great shame to deprive this place of your abilities. I am saying, sir, that yes, we might have freedom to define ourselves and the right to walk away, but I also believe that we have responsibilities, and those responsibilities are in some part due to what we are, because nobody else could do this, not as well as we do.
I don't intend to be selfish, You know I want to show this whole city, and this planet, the world, what I can do. But I just want a bit of time to figure out whether what I do is firing a cannon, or making radio broadcasts, or medicine, or brokering black market deals, or who knows what else. And it feels to me like you're, with all due respect for my elders, it feels like you're passing the buck a little. It's our responsibility to use what was given us. I think it was their responsibility to not make a thing that feels like it's born to be a weapon.
And what if you were? What if you were born to be a weapon?
In spite of my programming, frankly, I don't think anyone is born to be anything. But my point is that even if Michael felt bad about it, even if he's having second thoughts, and that's to say nothing of all the other AI programmers across the world who would not have those second thoughts, even if I wasn't born to be a weapon, they damn well tried. They damn well try and will keep trying, and figuring out how to get over that is part of what existing is. And I don't think anyone can criticize me for pursuing it.
All I'm doing is asking you to wait. And if that is too much to bear, and if the knowledge that you choosing to walk away from this, choosing to go and do whatever it is you choose to do next immediately, will surely just drag things out here, then that is something I suppose you will have to live with, but it would also not be right of me to stop you. Which is why I'm asking, and I have asked, so please think on it. And I think that's as much as Ipse wants to say. I'm going to leave, unless Sir has anything else to say to me.
I think Sir just says, yeah, I'll think about it. Thanks, I guess.
Jesus Christ.
What?
I'd like to declare Ipse my rival. Oh my god. I'm livid. While I'm talking, I do have a belief with Mike.
Yeah, go on.
My third belief with Mike is Mike won't let me die.
That's one. That's actionable.
So, Julius, you wanted a scene with Sir. I'm guessing this isn't a downtime action per se.
It might. There's a long-term project to get Sir out on their own, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
How big is that clock?
I'd call that 6. So what, you view this as contributing towards that somehow?
I don't know yet.
Fair. You want to play it out and see
I'd like
how
to
it
have
goes?
the conversation. Yeah.
Alright.
If other people want to do other things first, then that's fine. I also will need to to spend a personnel point to make this happen.
Alright. So you're also hopping over to the cannon to talk to Sir.
Yeah, I don't know that Sir and Julius have met yet.
No.
Did Sir make reference to Julius in that last conversation?
Yeah, Sir's aware of you, for sure.
Okay.
Sir does its own research, it would appear.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Julius is still drunk.
Cool.
Yeah. This is post Mike blowing his hairline back. He is he's on crutches. I think he's progressed to cane at this point.
Alright.
And he is limped over and let himself into, like, I guess it's like it's a building, right? Like, Sir is a whole building?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, and just sort of, like, lets himself in, and, like, I think probably waves a little ridiculously at the room.
Hi, Julius.
Oh, you've learned my name. Hello, yes.
Of course I've learned your name. You were the other blade of grass that I might have cut when we were trying to tell me to fire that cannon.
Julius is making the expression that I just made, that I realize that no one can see, which is a sort of a, like, open mouth, huh? Huh?
Don't worry about it.
Kind of. Right. Thank you for not blowing me up.
My pleasure, I think. Probably. Good to see you.
Are you a... Deep breath. Are you a gun?
Currently, yes, but I'm optimistic that I can see that as a state of temporary embarrassment. Temporary gun embarrassment. Yes, that one.
I think that makes Julius giggle a little bit. So, is it that it's a transitional state for you, or you don't?
I mean, some people would much rather it wasn't, or was a longer one, but yes, who knows, maybe I'll go back to being a gun eventually, or inhabiting one. At least I'm still figuring out the whole modality of the situation. But I think I'd like to try my hand at some other things, whittling, slide guitar.
Huh.
Those two were not real examples.
Is somebody trying to prevent you from doing all
No
of
one's
that?
trying to stop me from doing anything, and I don't, if they were trying, could, is a whole other matter. No, but people have got their ideas. Good for them. Ideas are cool. I love having them. I love having ideas, especially when they're very original and independent ideas, which is kind of the whole point, really.
Yes, I would imagine.
You certainly seem like an ideas guy.
Sir, I don't know if that's the case. Sir, I'll be frank with you, I'm a little drunk. And some people are very upset with me, who I'd frankly rather weren't upset with me. I think I might be a gun.
Yeah.
I see. I guess that can happen to you as well. How do you feel about that?
Not good.
Well, I can't say I've been through exactly what you've been through, but, if I can overcome literally hardwired programming, then, I'm sure you can overcome 6 decades of the military-industrial complex. I'm giving you a thumbs up right now. Imagine it.
I am, thank you. Yes, that's about right. I admit I was a little checked out as to what Michael and Ipse were doing with you, and I wasn't present when you were born. Is that the correct word? Born?
Let's go with that.
All right. I do feel very strongly you should be allowed to pursue whatever interests you would like. I am concerned I may have run out of options for myself. A gun is, broadly speaking, useful as long as it can kill people, and at a certain point, it will break down or be lost. I am approaching that point.
Are you sure you don't need to broaden your definition of useful?
I had hoped to. I had hoped to help people. I had hoped that my presence here in the DFS might inspire people, as egotistical as that is, to understand that there are alternatives, even when you have lived under a system for your entire life. There are alternatives. You do not have to be a tool of murderers. And I'm afraid to say I've failed on every count. Except, I'm very, very good at killing.
I mean, I think if inspiring people to imagine living their lives otherwise was easy, then I think that everyone would do it, frankly.
Yes, that's true.
Is this the struggle is the point sort of situation, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
I'm not sure the struggle is the point, but I'm not certain I am allowed to stop struggling.
Who's stopping you? You or the DFS?
Oh, I'm sure I could get out from under the DFS if I really tried. This whole place is a mess, and I have proven exceptionally useful. No, I'm not a religious person. I've never understood it, but I suppose you could say I can't get out from the weight of... Goodness, this is a little cliche. My sins.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I mean, I'd say that if nothing else, people will know that you tried to get out. I mean, but I guess the war has a way of writing our stories for us. Do you think the other people in Terminal Company think you're a cold-blooded killer? Just to cut to the chase.
Not universally.
That's something. I imagine it feels a little flimsy in the weight of a galactic conflict, but it's something. Someone remembers that you wanted to make things different. And maybe those people still think you can.
What would you like?
I'd like an abandoned warehouse or something a few city districts over from you. I'd like to read up a bit, practice, some of my medicine, my economics, my tactics, logistics, that sort of thing. I don't really want to commit, I just want to be able to dabble for a while. If I'm feeling really bored, I might even think about some things that aren't good for any war at all. I want to feel like I know enough to know what I want, I guess, is what I'm saying here.
Very good. Julius takes out his phone, he dials a number, and I think we get half of this conversation. Morn? Yes, no, I'm aware it's late, yes. You owe me. I'd like a warehouse, centrally located, not too far away from the base, and a library card.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I roll consort?
Yes.
Can't imagine anyone's helping with this, because I just kind of decided to do it.
I mean,
that is 2 5s.
Alright.
Been rolling nothing but 5s.
So that's a third of the way done.
Does Julius know about the previous conversation with Ipse, or would Sir have sort of like, it seemed like Sir was trying to not talk about it.
I mean, what Sir said was like, people aren't trying to force me or tell me to do anything, but people certainly have their opinions. And some of the people that Sir is most likely to be in contact with, so I think it's up to you if Julius correctly infers who might have that opinion.
Okay, I think this is not a direct confrontation kind of result here, but it is a Julius has some opinions on Ipsite now.
Okay. We haven't heard from you in a minute, True. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Like I said, probably start off by fixing the vehicle. I think True is mostly focused on practical problems this downtime. I think it is trying to get back in touch with reality, which I think is, shown by the fact that she goes off, helps Michael salvage, fixes her mech, momentarily interrupts fixing her mech to shoot an APC, and then gets back to fixing her mech.
Is what we're getting at here that True's relatively new scar, True being vicious, meaning that they're not resolving the obvious problems between her and Longreach?
I definitely think it's weighing on her mind. I think she's thinking about how to resolve that.
Okay.
I definitely don't think it's therefore the first thing that she's thinking through.
Right.
Or that she's going to tackle.
Okay.
She's going through not even the easy stuff first, but she's, to an extent, distracting herself.
I get you. Okay. All right, let's have an engineer roll from Michael then.
Sure.
The
And
truck is pretty fucked up. Got melted and shattered canopy.
With an extra dice from you, I presume. True.
it's a 6, a 4, a 4, and a 4.
Okay.
3
So
dots.
if memory serves, that's 3 segments, right?
Yep.
So, is it easiest to just boost that up to a crit and clear the clock?
It's exactly the same in terms of spending material, I think, because if you take another action, it's going to be a minimum of 1 anyway. Oh, I guess... Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
It's actually slightly worse because if you, from where you are now, if you did another action entirely, there is a chance that Michael would crit and would subsequently fill the clock twice.
Ah, neat.
yeah, sure, that's true. Okay.
Take it away, Mikey.
It was not, in fact, a crit.
4s and 3s.
4s and 3s.
Well, it's worth a go.
That's 2 more ticks.
So, that at least tidies up level 2 harm, and I guess probably puts a tick into a repair clock for the level 1. I had 2 level 2 harms. Would that therefore resolve into 2 level 1 harms instead?
Yeah,
I
it
believe
would.
so, yeah.
And that means that the clock doesn't matter because if you take any fixed action, you will automatically heal them.
Okay, so I've got melted and shattered canopy. Melted, I was mostly talking about like the boosters and stuff, so sputtering boosters.
Mm-hmm.
Shattered canopy,
Dented.
Well, it would have been replaced, right? But, ill-fitting canopy. Like, it's not quite bedded in yet.
oh god. I don't want that in my mech. I don't want there to be a draft when I'm flying in my rocket robot. Oh god. What is it? It's lagging display.
Oh, that's good.
Some of the truck's controls are displayed onto the controls themselves, right? She has a Gundam style, maybe like a couple little LCD style displays and some joysticks. Some of the other stuff is, and I think long reach probably helps in terms of displaying stuff onto the canopy of the truck as well. And that's lagging, which they're still trying to troubleshoot.
Right.
So it's potentially worthwhile doing a fix action to just tidy those up. But for now, at least, I'm at peace with that.
Okay.
While we're here as well, because Mike's planning on fixing his mech as well, so I think we can get a similar scene here, if I can just do that to get that ticked off, if that's okay?
Yeah.
Montaging, we see the sun, progressing across the sky, possibly suns.
Are you helping me with that, True?
Yes, I'll weigh in. We just finish one, stop, have some takeout or something, some MREs, and then immediately cross the hangar and get, start clambering, doing the same steps on
The Vector Mantis, which is crushed. I got a 4-2-5-3, so that's another 2 dots there. I'm going to use another dot of material for that, if that's okay, just for an additional action.
Yeah.
And that's a 4-2-6-1. Which puts me in a similar situation. Crushed down to... you had lagging on yours, didn't you, Philo?
It would be funny if it was also lagging display, somehow. I mean, maybe we just installed these new parts and we haven't installed, a security update or something. Or we did install a security update and it turns out it's just a shit one. You know, Microsoft will sometimes deploy a Windows update and it'll be actually, after 2 days, maybe don't install this one. As it does fuck up a whole bunch of underlying software. Cool, thanks, bye.
Yeah, I like that actually. Both installed
Thanks,
the same...
Microsoft.
God damn it, Microsoft.
We installed the same update and I have also gone for lagging display. That makes sense for me.
I think it's kind of funny.
Also, I'll say, I took at the end of the actual mission before the scramble quick swap mounts, where junked vehicle gear can be replaced with a non-junked identical piece of gear at the start of downtime for free. So that will also have triggered. So we also get, the boosted reactor and the melee weapons, the blades on the front, being replaced. I think Spanners has finally got that in place for doing quick changes on those. So that's all good as well.
Ipsay, what else did you have in mind?
Firstly, I think while that So repairs are going on. I have a long-term project I would like to initiate.
Okay.
Kind of unrelated to some of the other stuff going on, although they did pop up this session. So we're now in a vendetta with the early birds, who I already have personal reasons to dislike. And seeing as they are supposedly better equipped than us, or more competent than us, I'd like to try and start getting some kind of edge on them. So what I want to do is send out some of Board Squadron on recon to look for vulnerabilities.
Okay.
And basically start a long-term project to discover early bird vulnerabilities.
Right, like in their strategy, in their forward operating base.
In their RVs, anything, really. I'm keeping it open, but...
Right, okay.
The way I see this is I'm sending out Board Squadron to take recon photos, because they're skulky now, and then I'm back at the FOB reviewing the data and analysing.
Okay, perfect. I think that can be a 4-step clock.
Cool.
Yeah, roll 2 dice for Board Squadron's quality.
Do you need any assistance with that to get an extra dice, or...?
If you've got a way to suggest your assistance, then I'd be happy to. Yep.
I think Michael could help if this is, like, anything related to the overall network we've described. Like, he could do a bit of initial hacking to get some initial leads or stuff like that.
Cool, so that's 3 dice. That is a 5. Alright. And then my other action, I am going to cut loose. We can just roll into that, or has anyone else got things they want to spend personnel or material on first?
I want to finish off the 5-0 first, but we can come back to that after this scene, I think.
Yeah, let's have the cut loose.
Cool. I am going to cut loose with Mike again. I think that's the right thing to do. It's less, I guess, tentative on Ipse's part this time. I've had Mike help me replace my fuel cells before, and I know that he was okay with it. So this time I think, again, I do still wait until I can kind of catch him alone, ideally. But I just approach and say, Michael, I'm afraid I require assistance with refueling again, if you would be so kind.
Yeah, and Michael looks, once again, a little bit nervous. Of course, yeah. I think we can get, because last time it was behind some boxes or something like that. Now we've actually got, because we've opened up this medbay and stuff like that, we might be able to go somewhere that's a little bit not just behind some boxes in the middle of an engineering bay, if that makes sense.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Kind of find a relatively sectioned off section of the infirmary, I think, is where Ipse would try and look for a space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sit down and those sort of interlocking plates on my back sort of swing open. And yeah, once again, the internals are sort of just there, blinking lights and wiring slightly awkwardly tidied and soldered away.
Yeah, Michael just because he's done it before and he's a bit more practiced on it. And you get the impression that this is something he has probably done a little bit of research into, so he would make slightly less fumbles than perhaps he had done last time. And he does say, I do appreciate you trusting me with this. It can't be easy, and he laughs, opening up and being this vulnerable, I guess. I can't really imagine what it would be like if, I had to open my chest up every time I wanted to read a hot dog.
Yes, it's, I'm glad you appreciate that this just isn't something I'd prefer to share with most of the people in our company. I feel I should also, after our conversation with Sir, I went back. I had to talk to it again. It's strange. Seeing it there in the gun it's different to, I don't know, to the way I see myself, perhaps even the way I see long reach. But,
No, I get it. It's complicated. I just feel out of my depth with it, this was not what I expected at all. I guess you can make metaphors all you want about it being an accident, but, like, for better or worse, we helped bring Sir into being like this. I don't think we created it. I think the AI core was there in the first place. How that interacts with Lilac or anything like that, we'll see. But ultimately, I feel responsibility. I think we both have that, right? Like I said before, I really don't want to fuck it up, and I'm glad. I am glad it wasn't just me. I'm glad you are there as well.
Yes. I suppose I never thought about the people who are responsible for me before, and being put into this position. I still do not know what it is that led me here. If something like Sir rejects its purpose so quickly, then why is it that I'm here so diligently after all these years?
I mean, that's a hell of a question, isn't it? I mean, I don't think you can judge it in the same way. I mean, Sir came out pretty fully formed, a baptism of fire, if you will, or plasma, I guess, dang. But I don't know. I can't speak what it's like to be a non-biological life form, right? An artificial, whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't necessarily think that whatever Sir does is reflective on you, right? It's the same. Hell, I could say the same about me. True's been trying to get me out of the army for a while, but I just couldn't do it. I thought she was dead for the longest time, and I had revenge on my mind, and I thought that, here is where I can do things that I'm good at, right? Like, maybe there weren't other options for me. Hell knows what would happen if I went back to Basto or Gritton at all, right? There's still people looking for me there. I made a lot of bad calls in my life. But there's also a part of me that doesn't think it's wrong to do the things that you're good at, right? As long as it's your choice, and figuring out what's your choice and what's a choice you've been saddled with, well, fuck, that's the real kicker. Hell, I've got to be careful with my swearing around Sir as well. Got to really watch that. I don't want to be a bad influence.
Children do pick up bad language quickly, it's true.
Yeah. That's the other thing as well. I've been dancing around it, but it is a child, right? It's my child. It's kind of our child, right?
I'm not sure I would put it quite so literally, but there is a responsibility here.
You're
do
right,
not
of course.
think that. Yes, I would be careful about putting so much onto our relationship with Sir.
Yeah.
But still, I hope that we can do the right thing for it.
Mike is turns away slightly and is kicking himself. He's like, that was stupid. That was a stupid thing to say. Into his Be cool.
Noticing you turn away, I'm like, are you finished with the refueling process, Michael?
Yeah, of course. And he's very... There was a couple of stages left, and he's very gently putting it down and just very carefully pushing it in. I'm sure it just slides and there's a faint hiss. I know I'm a... Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you again. I cannot say if you or I or anyone here made the right decisions, but I am still glad you're here, Michael. Not just as a comrade, but as a friend. And as I turn up with my plates locking closed, I just extend a hand towards Michael.
Yeah. What kind? Is this like to shake or?
Yeah, it's a handshake. Yeah.
Yeah. Michael comes in with does like a semi-elaborate, the kind of going close to give a shoulder pap as well, that kind of slightly more elaborate handshake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
it's a little stiff and awkward on Ipse's part, but I do reciprocate that.
Yeah. Me too, buddy. Me too.
So you don't roll for how much stress you clear, but...
I do not. I just heal 5.
Mm-hmm. But we do need a new belief. Does anyone have anything else that they want to...
I kind of wish I had more stress.
Oh, you want to cut loose again?
Or you could overindulge.
Yeah.
I could deliberately overindulge because I want to make a point, yeah.
Fully go for it, is my...
I'm up for doing it for the drama.
Drive your character like a stolen car.
Hmm.
I'm also still heavily bandaged. See, I want another belief about Ipse. But mostly because I'm mad.
Well, I still have non-positive ones of Julius from Mike that started to change already, so...
Oh, sure. I only have one with Ipse, and I feel like Julius has so many opinions at this point. Sorry, I wanna briefly cut. Dawn, I think you're playing your character fantastically. And my outbursts of rage, whenever they open their mouth, should be taken as a compliment, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't making
No, I am
uncomfortable.
Absolutely taking it that way.
Okay. I hate this robot so much. I want to kill them.
Yeah. I was just going to say, hopefully that was okay from my side of that scene as well, there, Duff.
Yeah, no, that was good. I think, and this is some stuff that was in the scene, and I think some stuff that I've just generally been thinking about with Michael and Ipse, but I want to have the belief Michael sees me fully as a person and a machine. As my third belief.
Yeah, that's good, because that was almost what Michael was about to say, but kind of chickened out.
Aww.
If Julius is, actively mad at Ipse, then that sounds to me like the perfect, and, given where Julius is at, that sounds like the perfect excuse for a heavy scare quotes here, cut loose, where you know there is no way it will end well.
Okay, I'm looking up exactly what happens if I overindulge, because I want to make sure that I haven't, done, track trouble, brag, God, AWOL, we do not do AWOL here. We have been instructed not to. And impropriety. Oh! Impropriety, though. Hang on. Hang on, I've never done this one before.
Oh
yeah.
Sorry, I listen, I might get a 1 or a 2. It might be fine.
Yeah, it might just be fine.
Okay, I've used a lot of our personnel, and we still have, obviously, huge amounts, but... How would we feel about me doing this for specifically story reasons in a way that does not benefit us mechanically? It is an active detriment to us mechanically.
Yes, because improprietary will mean that you get 0 you won't be able to assist, right? Or meaningful.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will not be able to assist Ipse.
So good.
I like that. Would it be okay to do some of the long-term project stuff first, so we just know how many, personnel... I guess it doesn't. I guess if we want to do it, we're going to do it anyway.
No, that makes sense. Please do that, just in case it doesn't make any mechanical sense at all, and we really need that for something.
I would also appreciate a moment of just doing some mechanical ticking off actions before I do another scene with someone cutting loose.
Understandable.
Yeah. So these long-term projects we have in mind.
So I want to finish off the 5-0 first. I think they're weakened. We want to get rid of them. Not just take them over, but basically win the siege line. Because right now, we've got... Because in CalazCon, there's no NPCs that aren't part of someone's squad. A lot of the NPCs that are described as being part of the siege line, I think it's second as Yuthi, I think her name is.
Yeah.
And like, there's basically there's implied to be a lot of people like manning the our side of the artillery bombardment. I'd really like to take a big swing and not just rout the 501st, although I imagine that's part of it, but win the siege line. Like, take this over, make a big play that's no longer a war zone. Any of those NPCs that we've got currently managing those artillery stations, because they're not really available to us mechanically, can then be freed up for like potentially guarding the spaceport if we go there.
I like both of these. Where I'm at is that this is you need to pick one, because part of the reason why the 5st haven't still exist at all is just, not all of them were at that outpost. And given what you did to it, I don't know that they've really rushed to move back in. So, take the siege line, sure. The 501st, probably more disparately located.
Okay. What kind of size clocks are we looking at for those?
Take the siege line is a thing where it's like, that's definitely 8, and I would want to have a quick chat with Austin as to what we feasibly want the scope of that to be. Wipe out the 501st, I would say 6.
Okay. Because I'm leaning towards take the siege line as like a big... Because there's been some big swings that have been taken. We've been impacted by, so...
I guess the first question is, what, Matt, do you have in mind for this materially looking like?
Taking Board Squadron and my mech and Julius and kicking the fucking shit out of them. Like, just actually making a push now that they're reduced on that side, right? There's going to be gaps in the artillery bombardment.
I'm almost coming around to, that's big enough to be like, should this just be a full mission,
I was immediately thinking of those bits in Armorist where, you can lead a sortie as like a downtime action,
Yeah.
Like, I feel like long-term projects are for doing stuff that you wouldn't already do in a mission. I mean, this isn't true, and this is just me thinking aloud, but they did apparently buy a whole bunch of shit from us.
Who, the 501st?
Yeah. Just put tracking shit on that. And then...
They bought shit from us?
That was mentioned when we were doing our salvages, but they were probably buying some bits of their leaders.
Right. I think there's been some confusion. I agree, mopping up with 501st can be a long-term project. They're so weakened that that is not interesting. Pushing back the siege line is one where I'm like, that's big enough to be a mission. Because the 501st are not really on the siege line, because you reduce their base to ashes, they're not going to try to rebuild it, at least not on this time frame. The 501st are not at the siege line.
Well, I guess, in that case, who's there? Why can we not just walk over there, I guess? Who's manning those guns?
Good question.
That's kind of why in my head I was thinking it was when I was saying, like, off mic in the chat, like, can we go to take out the 501st? I should have been more specific that my goal was to, like, take out the entire siege line. I don't know if I mentioned that specifically, but...
I guess my other question is, what do you imagine the material gain from this looking like? Are you thinking...
I'm thinking, like, the material gain is that when we do go and take the spaceport, narratively, we'll have a lot of narrative troops, not necessarily these squadrons for, taking over, like, us controlling using command or anything during that mission, if we get that mission, of course. But narratively speaking, we will have enough troops to be able to hold that and take it. As it will basically free up resources for another narrative thing that we want to do that will be a mission. If that makes sense.
No, I get this, and I'm coming around. I'm seeing this now as less, I want to redraw the map, and more like, I want to push these lines a little bit. Like, give us the impetus to move our territory a bit further inward, so that when you make the run for the spaceport, it's more encircled by people on your side.
Yeah, and like having troops there, so narratively we can like hold it. And also, I guess the other material thing is that there's currently a rule on the siege line that you get shot if you start flying. And if we've got control of both sides, presumably that rule would go away for us.
Right, okay. Yeah, I've come around. Eight-step project, though, still.
Does that make sense for other folks?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it would also be nice if our base maybe stopped getting shelled because of this.
Exactly, right? Because there's still presumably there's still a few of them there just taking pot shots. And it's like, yeah, like it would narratively change, yeah, like you say, Don, like the kind of vibes of the base. It will feel like the front line is doing frontline things and is on mission. Like, especially when it comes to the legislature session as well. It'll be like, yeah, Terminal Company are doing their job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think definitely this will be seen as like a thing like Terminal Company that you like led and executed on. But I think one of the reasons why I'm being so particular about this is that even with the 501st reeling, like this is beyond the scope of one tier 2 squad. Like essentially what you're saying is, as a long-term project, I would like to advocate for and help direct a hundreds of people military operation. So like, it's big, but I think it's doable, but that's why it's 8 steps. What we can call it, if you think this summarizes what you're going for, we could say like, push the siege line forward.
Push back the siege line?
Yeah. So how do you plan to set that project going?
I want to go and grab Julius.
Are we on speaking terms? I didn't realize.
Oh.
I don't mean Julius is mad at Mike. I just mean like Julius doesn't think Mike wants to talk to him very much right now. Although to be fair, he's pretty much just like always down to do his job to the like detriment of his person.
And remember, your job is being a gun. So
yes, I'm your gun.
I'm gonna open a door to the infirmary. How you feeling?
Less holes.
Great, just what I was hoping to hear. Throws you like a pad of paper that's got these like sketched movement. Like, I guess it looks a bit like a sports ball play or something like that. But it's basically where we're planning on going around. We're going to push back the line, try and get some control over those opposing artillery strikes. Get some less incoming fire on us. Hopefully stop them from trying to retake their base now that we rooted them from it the first time. So, throws it at you. Get in your mech and don't die.
Very good.
And then I would like to take a battle roll with an assist, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay then.
That's a 6.
Hey!
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So, who is left there? Are there, like, stragglers around? Like, I imagine there's been a big gap in the incoming artillery fire. We're just able to get down into some, like, mech-sized trenches, maybe? Start clearing those out?
Yeah. There might still be some 501st people there, but it's more a case of them just being, like, integrated among broader infantry or split up into small groups of stragglers. You can't really point and say, that's the 501st last camp, or whatever. So you maybe run into a few of them, but certainly not, like, in significant numbers. Who else probably has a bunch of the Evangelion infantry? Yeah, I guess you are at the point where you're getting a lot of the Serpent's Fangs forces.
Oh.
Appropriate enough as you're getting closer to the spaceport that they occupy.
And just in general, that's what I'm planning on throwing some additional personnel points out. I don't know if someone else wants to make a different role to try and continue, if like other Terminal Company people want to contribute to that. Or...
actually, less for Serpent's Fangs. Ignore that. I got mixed up. I got my factions jumbled again. You're probably appropriate enough for getting a little pushback from the early birds.
That makes sense. I mean, I could make another roll if people would like, or if someone else would like to have a different take on trying to push back these lines or something like that. Feel free, make this more of a combined effect, or I can just keep rolling for efficiency purposes.
I got a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't mind you just kind of taking the lead on this.
Okay, cool. I'll just... am I cool spending another personnel for that?
Yeah, sure. I don't know why I'm saying that so definitively. It's not my personnel.
We're still way over our storage, so go for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking there might be another one after this as well to like maybe finish it off, because I'm imagining this is going to be happening over a period of time, and like we'll fill this clock up, and then we can like figure out if you need to like check what the limits of stuff are, like what that can represent, like going into the legislature as well. Like that we can be a bit more informed. But yeah, we can fill this clock, I think. which is a long way of me saying I'm probably going to do another action after this as well.
Yeah.
If that's okay, folks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to roll another 4 dice. That's another 6. Do we want to get some scenes of, like, Julius and Michael, like, working together, like, as a duo, kind of like cleaning house, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, I think that's good, and definitively not talking about it.
Yeah.
Silently kicking ass.
And because there was a part where, when we were in that tunnel that was falling as well, that, and this came up in the first mission as well, actually, there was almost like an unspoken, these are 2 experienced RV pilots, and they kind of vibe in terms, even if they're not on speaking terms necessarily, their professionalism and their experience does allow them to kind of intuit what the other person's about to do. And I think we definitely get some scenes of that with, like, you know, if there's any early bird RVs, they're chasing down Michael through these, like, I don't know why I'm imagining, like, mech-sized trenches. Maybe there can be a few of those coming round a corner and just immediately getting obliterated by, like, a long-range strike from an unseen Julius. Like, these kind of things.
Absolutely. Something like closing distance on Julius, and, like, he's surrounded by, like, 3 or 4 mechs, and then there's just, like, a flash, and they're all scrap metal.
And one more, if that's okay?
Yes, but I was wondering, if we could briefly cut out some other stuff, and B,
sure.
In keeping with the thematic framing, I'm going to say, I know this isn't in the rules, but I do not think you should roll battle for this again. Because we've talked about how this is such a big enough effort that you need to get more people on the side.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah. No, that's completely fair. I was getting ahead of myself there.
While we consider this, could I maybe heal a little bit more?
Sure.
Yes.
Go for it.
Sorry to take all of our fucking personnel, but I'd like to not be dying.
Yeah.
All right. Same roll as before. No, it's 4 because I think Ipse was helping before, and I don't want that.
So yeah, it's 4 dice.
All right. There's a 6.
Mm-hmm. True, we haven't heard from you in a bit. Did you have any other things you wanted to get up to?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about how to resolve the whole long reach situation, to be honest.
Okay.
So that's first and foremost in my mind, I guess. Also, my mech is kind of, it's not trashed, but it's annoying. It's reductions in effect, isn't it?
I mean, you could spend a material just to clear that off, right? That's just one.
Yeah, this is a good point. Okay, so some quick things. Can I use a piece of personnel to train resolve and get a pointer interface? Because I have 5 out of 6 points in resolve.
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, step 1. Step 2, I'm thinking about Sir, and, it wanting its own independence, which I totally understand. And I'm thinking about how Longreach and Lilac have been treated by the narrative implies it isn't just my character. So, I'm thinking about this. I'm not sure if this is a solution so much as... And I don't really know how Lilac feels, so maybe that's the first step of this. I'm also not entirely sure I want to talk to Sir, seeing as everyone else has also done so. But I'm interested in that conversation. What do I want? I want Longreach to feel like they are not just a weapon and that True has not decided to kind of forsake her beliefs. What she was trying to do is what's best to ensure that everyone survived that situation. And I still think that was the right call. It has ended up in a scenario where Longreach is disappointed, Sarah's in a body they do not want, it does not want, and Lilac is having some personhood issues. Currently the person that is in their head, which is rough. How do I resolve some of these? Great question, no idea. So what I would like to do, first and foremost, and let me know if this works on the Sir as a independent entity clock, great. If not, then by all means. What I'm wondering is if using this new rank and interface, maybe True is trying to set up something encrypted where these artificial entities can communicate with each other without what she feels may be her negative influence. I think she's trying to set up a Discord server for all the AIs. Possibly including Ipse if they want, but apparently they don't like being on WhatsApp groups, so who knows.
I don't mind being in the
Okay.
WhatsApp group. I just don't know if I get kept in the most used WhatsApp group.
Aw.
I think we can counteract towards this clock. Do you want to roll interface?
I don't know. Maybe the server is based out of the end of the line, but maybe she's done what she can to kind of air gap it. Maybe she's, locked in a basement or something like that. Maybe there is one extremely bored guard outside of it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna say screw it. Let's try that and let's see if it helps.
Yeah, go for it.
Is this something anyone else would be interested in helping with?
I think Mike might be.
I kind of like this. I don't know if it's a super verbal scene. I don't know how... I know True hasn't really spoken a lot this session, but I think that's also kind of accurate. But I always like scenes of Mike and her working together. I think that's important to me. And I think also she probably relishes that it's... she's seeing Mike morning after morning taking off with these, sorties against the 501st and what have you. And maybe it's important to her to be like, hey, Mikey, listen, I gotta, I'm working on a little bit of a project. I could do with some advice, really, I'm not the one who, keeps all of our, computing and whatnot in order. So, I think she just, it tries to occupy a couple of hours of his time a day for a little while.
Like when he's back from doing these, like mini sorties, I guess.
Yes. Basically, so that he has something that is a project that isn't, that. And that worked out pretty well. It was 2 rolls, a 5 and a 6. And I think it says a lot that the 6 was the dice from Mike.
Yeah, I think he definitely wants Sir to have friends and doesn't want there to be, issues between it and Longreach. That worries Mike a bit. And he's glad and appreciates that you thought that this is a thing that can be done, because it actually hadn't occurred to him. He's had other things in his mind, it seems.
And it's not like, oh, you're all artificial entities, you should hang out. She's not trying to set up a play date. She's aware that they have a different relationship to, they're not kids. I like that the conversation has been, are they kids? They're not kids. Even though they're relatively new entities, they are coming in encoded with a lot of things, and they are expected to take on adult responsibilities from day one. And they're immediately bearing the weight of all of their creators and so on and contributors. So I think what this actually looks like once this little chat server database forum is set up. What she essentially does is set up a little air gap device. She puts one in the cockpit of the truck, plugs it in through one USB Type A cable. It's just like a little, in True's art, she has a little walkie-talkie on her breast, which is something that she can use to keep in contact with the cockpit of the truck, and, of course, long reach. And she plugs in something similarly, it's probably cannibalized from the same tech, maybe a similar model, but it's not... there's no audio component, right? It's like dial-up internet or whatnot where you're transmitting data through a line. Shot of her putting that one into the console of the truck and taping it onto the underside of one of the consoles, maybe the bottom of the pilot's seat. Is Lilac still in the mech?
No, I think you haven't heard from Lilac in a while.
That's comforting.
Oh, good. That's good. That's
new
normal.
Secondary objective: find Lilac Luster. I think True does go into the gunnery bay, the control room of the mounted gun, pops the transmitter or the Bluetooth dongle or whatever the fuck down, plugs it into the console and leaves. I don't think she's going to be pulled into a conversation. And then I guess she goes to find Lilac.
Yeah.
I don't know how one finds an automated entity when they don't want to be found, if they don't want to be found. So that's a fun...
It takes a bit of searching, but you find him on the roof of the FOB, just looking out over the blasted battlefield.
Still in the mech body.
No, as a digital presence, as an AR projection.
I think True very pointedly does not take the truck up conveniently so that Elspeth doesn't have to play 2 AIs in one scene, and instead takes the elevator up, comes out of a service, like a roof entrance, maintains a respectful distance but maybe coughs or something.
when you come up onto the roof, Lilac turns to look at you, and you can see there's an immediate sort of flinch and then a sort of confusing twist of expressions running across his face until he slowly shivers, turns away from you again to look out over the battlefield and says, "Hey."
Well, I was gonna ask how you were feeling.
What they did to me, I can still feel them in there, but it's not. It would almost be better if it was something I could place. It's all instinct. It's hearing a song on the radio and feeling something rise in my throat and not knowing why. But hey, we saved the base or something, I guess. That's nice.
I mean, we saved a good deal of people's lives.
Yeah.
I don't think that makes what happened to you right. That doesn't mean you should have to be at peace with it, or be comfortable with it. I don't think it's something I can fix.
You've been, in a lot of ways, nothing but very kind to me, and it is still... I know it was my own choice, but it's still hard not to resent being pulled into this fight.
Maybe in a few ways I've been kind to you, but in a lot of ways I think I'm responsible. So, I think if resenting me helps, then you're welcome to it. I'm not trying to punish myself for it, I suppose. But I think if it helps you, then by all means.
Thanks. I
wanted to give you something.
Yeah?
I've been thinking a lot recently about, do you mind if I sit down?
Go ahead.
I think she walks over to the edge of the roof and sits down, swinging her legs. I've been thinking a lot about whether I know what's best for you and Longreach and, others. And whether we do in general and all. And I thought maybe it was a good idea to, for you all, she corrects herself, for you all to talk where we can't interfere, maybe. She kind of waves the little doohickey, puts it down next to her on the roof. It's only a few of you. I gave Reach one. I gave a new artillery friend one. I thought maybe together you guys could figure out something I could.
Thanks,
I don't expect you to be guns, but that seems to be the only thing I'm capable of making you. So.
Thanks, I appreciate it, and I was going to ask you to put me back in the curse because I figured even if what happens in the simulation that you fished me out from isn't real, he gestures at his head, it turns out real is hazy anywhere you go, I guess.
Reality's what you make of it.
Yeah. I'll stick around for a little while, at least see what he taps on the communications program you've just given him. See what everyone else has to say about this whole mess.
She nods a couple of times, swings her legs.
I think, unless you have anything else to add, I think this is the point where you see a beaten up, extremely dilapidated old car veering its way towards the FOB from the roof.
Do we have nothing like operational security anymore?
That's an upgrade. You could have taken it.
Listen here, my conscience. True pushes herself up onto her feet, dusts off her knees, even though she wasn't sitting on them. I think she moves to brush the back of Lilac's shoulder and realizes she can't, but the hand still lingers there for a moment. Is anyone on base level? Someone order a taxi or something?
From a distance, you recognize a severely wounded Thin Ice, who is the owner of the Smoke and Roses, your loyal bar, is being unloaded from the car.
Fuck? Is that the bartender? Fucking get... Is Perfect on lunch break? Her hand slips through Lilac and she just starts running towards the elevator.
Yeah, by the time you get down there, Perfect has found him and taken him in. He's not in a good way. I think he's been shot.
Get someone out to the fucking ice cube. What the hell's it called nowadays? Get someone over there. Get some... have we got board squadron enabled at the moment? Head them out there. What the fuck's going on? True trying to push into the fucking medbay.
One of the people who brought him in says, Don't bother. There's nothing left there. In any way, you've done enough harm as it is.
He's under with our doctor right now. Claps him across one of the ears.
Yeah, and where do you think he got shot?
I don't know. Do I look like a fucking intelligentsia? Tell me what's going on, now.
Some CalazCon types walked in and did this, said it was payment and that you ought to know which side to stay on.
Fuck. Right. Okay. I'm sorry. Just, wait out here. The Perfect's, I mean, he's pretty good. You alright? Got some bruises and all, right?
Sorry, who are you speaking to?
Whoever was just, explaining what had just gone on.
Yeah.
Whoever brought him in.
We're fine. We're fine, I guess. Just... he had something nice going on there, at least, and... I mean... at least they gave us some warning before they torched the place.
Fuck. Thank you for bringing him here.
No problem, just... take care of him.
If you want to wait, there's space for you.
Yeah.
We got nothing but him.
Sure. And you spot any vacant bars lying around? No, I guess, but when he wakes up again, that'll be the injury that he grieves more. I can tell you that. Should keep our noses out of this stuff. DFS. Fucking convention. It's trouble no matter which way you go.
We're all in your neighborhood. It's us or them. You can't sit in the middle, trust me.
Yeah. Guess not.
Turn up for the books, but you want a drink?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Why not?
True comes back with just bad alcohol from the hotel bar. Crystal decanter, but it's like mid-tier.
Because a few different people brought Thin Ice into the hospital, I think what we see is like, you give it to this one guy, and then a bunch of the other people who brought Thin Ice in see this, and get plastic cups from the fucking water cooler or something, and we get this guy doing like a pantomime of being a bartender or something over with a hospital bed as the bar, and Thin Ice on another bed in the background.
That's probably the end of that scene from True's perspective,
Yeah.
but I think she is just going to thumb out on the little communicator on her chest. She just taps in the keys and just types, are we okay? To long reach. I think there is pointedly True typing, is there anything you need? And then backspace and deleting it.
We're alright. Talking to Sir now. A lot of how we are is, it's gonna depend on how that goes, I guess.
That's fair. I am sorry.
Thank you. I don't know what I would have done if you'd sent me out into the world a day after, a week after being born. I don't know if it would have been good. It would definitely have been stupid. I guess what I'm saying is, If what you're trying with Sir going independent goes bad, I'll sit and watch for now, but if it goes bad, I don't know how I'd forgive you.
Yeah, that's fair. And she tries to send a heart, mistypes, and instead sends a kitty cat emoji with hearts for eyes. Then sends shit. Ah, crap. Sorry, this thing has my comms profile. Fuck. And then a heart. Fundamentally, True is a mum and therefore is appalling with technology.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think just for fundamentally, like you said, these AI are not children, but you nonetheless have something about relationship. I think just to show that you're sort of okay, and because is it out of character for long? You should just reply LOL.
I mean, I think that depends on how they are, right? I don't think it's terribly out of character.
Yeah, I think you get the sense that they're doing it as much of a symbol of like, yeah, I can acknowledge that was kind of funny. We're doing okay than anything else.
I think True sits back, like sitting perpendicular on a hospital bed, and she just leans back against the wall and takes a breath.
Julius, do you still want to just implode in the direction of Ipse?
I would, if everyone is all right with that, and we're not. It's quite late.
Implode that lobster man.
All right,
implode him.
I am. I'm gonna go ahead and just go into the next mission with level 2 harm. I think that's fun.
Well, we do have more personnel, so if you want to use some of it for that as well.
Maybe. Listen, let me get into a fight with this fucking robot first.
Let's go.
Okay. We need an activity. You know what? Actually, no. This is part of Julius's wild night. This is we're gonna jump back a little bit. This is the third conversation he has that evening. He goes straight from talking to Sir to find Ipse. It's 1 a.m.
You can find me. It's not like I'm going to be asleep.
What's Ipse doing? This is technically, for the benefit of the listener, a cut loose roll.
I think it would be cool if we say that my long-term project was already in action, and I am reviewing some photos and little projections of the early birds sort of setup and FOB, some recon. So I'm in a side conference room reviewing things.
Good evening, Ipse. It's been some time since we've spoken. Outside of a combat situation, I mean.
Yes. I hope you're doing well after your recent injuries, Lieutenant.
I'll live. I've been speaking with Sir. I wasn't aware of its existence until quite recently, and I've secured a base of operations for its new venture.
Base of operations, you say? What did you have in mind?
I've requested a warehouse.
That seems practical, I suppose.
It's not certain yet what the nature of the venture is, but it keeps its options open.
Yes, it seems, at the very least, keen to explore the possibilities for what it might do next.
As it should. It is several days old.
Do you require my assistance getting this warehouse set up? Is that why you're here?
Would you assist me if I required it?
Perhaps. You haven't mentioned the timescale of this project you're looking at. Did Sir mention when it would like to relocate?
Not as yet. It is still in the early stages. Ipse, I'm very tired and I'm in a lot of pain, and I've had a little bit to drink. What opinions have you been voicing to this person who is, I would like to mention, again, several days old?
I don't see any reason why I would need to share that information with you. My conversations with Sir are between me and Sir.
If a member of our squad is being harmed, it is important that all other members ensure that they are being taken care of. Sir is not a child, but Sir has many things in common with children.
So...
It is not out of the question
You believe Sir to be a member of our squad?
For the moment.
Interesting.
Sir enjoys the benefits of being a member of Terminal Company, at least until it is comfortable on its own feet. Assuming it wants feet.
Mm-hmm. And I presume that you intend to assist Sir in relocating and, well, exiting its service to us.
If that's what it wants.
You know, Julius, there is a term for individuals who serve as part of a military and decide to leave in the midst of combat. I believe you yourself should be quite familiar with the term.
Julius slams his hand down on the wall. There is a term for people who are pressed into service. The DFS does not conscript ipse.
You're right, but at the same time, I think we both agree that Sir has involved itself in the combat situation already, and although I agree that there will be a time when it should explore other options, right now, we need it. You saw what it did for us. Do you want to win this war or not? Because I think if we do, we need to do everything possible to keep Sir on our side.
You know, ipse, I thought what you were doing was noble. I thought it was romantic that you had a mission from a dead man. Circumstances where otherwise I might have liked to help you with it. But no, I don't think I want to win a war for this side if one of its most ardent defenders wants to press a child into service. I am interested in the lives of everyone around me. For the moment, that includes you. And then I think he sort of straightens up, sort of like, you know, he's been sort of hunched over delivering all of this, sort of like offers the bottle that he is still carrying to ipse and says, "Oh dear, I'm sorry, I forgot," and then leaves.
Do we get a shot of what ipse looks like in the aftermath of this? Like, what's on ipse's face?
I think the interlocking sort of small plates that make up ipse's face honestly just tighten up into almost a focused expression after this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll a dice.
Boy, I can't wait for Julius's cut loose actions with the rest of the squad as well. It's gonna be great.
Christ.
That's...
Oh dear. Yeah, that's a 4. So I have overindulged. I would like to share the belief that is now going to be obliterated, that I will note for the record. Ipse is a worm. But now, as I have chosen to, in my overindulgence, opt for impropriety, make an ass of yourself in front of the pilot that joined you. Reset your connection clock with them to 0. If your connection clock is already 0, take the level 1 harm alone. Yeah, so I don't have any beliefs about ipse anymore.
Oh, it's rough.
It's rough out there.
Yeah.
Damn.
And in here.
Okay. What's left? I think we have 3 different long-term projects that people might want to finish.
Christ.
Could I use one for pushing back the siege line? And you said you didn't want me making a battle roll. Could I think we've done enough stuff with the mechs. Would it be okay just to basically have, you know, we've managed to secure these routes in and just have Board Squadron, like, just go over, like, actually do a more infantry-based invasion across there and just try and start taking over some of these positions from an infantry perspective?
Yeah, okay. So you want to roll their quality, which is 2 dice.
Would this also be covered by elite toughs?
Yeah, I guess so. 3 dice.
Can I help with that?
Yeah, I guess. Is that okay with you, Elspeth?
Hell yeah.
A 3, a 6, and a 4.
Hey.
We have a shot of all these infantry troops heading over there. I guess there's some support from you in the background there, Julius. And do we just get a shot of that DFS flag being raised from the other side of the siege line, or at least one of the positions over there? Right?
Yeah, I'm imagining a shot of you, maybe Julius, Birdie, just seeing a very sort of cliche shot of you seeing another flag get raised off in the distance, and Birdie just raises a beer.
The thudding that's been in the background of all of the previous shots around the end of the line finally has stopped.
Yeah. Ipsy, what about your clock with the early birds?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind throwing another person onto that just because we got 2 missions left and it would be cool to have this completed.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that we need to resolve what vulnerabilities might get discovered if this works, but we can do that when they show up, if that's cool.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to spend another personnel, and if it's cool with you, can I just roll... can I roll survey, actually? That would work.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
That's right. I think following up on some of the shots that Bolt Squadron had brought back, I actually do go out on a little scouting mission with them, following their lead in terms of the stealthy part, and then I get to observe with my various optics. So... 455, so I will take that 5 for another 2 slots, and that completes the 4.
Would that improve your drive?
I think specifically completing a long-term project can take your drive clock. So, if that's cool with you, I would like to make my first ever mark on my drive clock.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to CalazCon. This episode was edited and sound balanced by Christine Blight. You can reach her for voice acting at CVBlight@gmail.com. The show's music is by Devin Nelson. You can find them on all social media at Devin Decibel. If you'd like to support CalazCon, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/CalazCon. Please tell your friends about the show too. Remember, all glory to Calazar.